Good evening and welcome to Division II Hockomock League basketball. Tonight, Bob and I are at the North Attleboro High School Gymnasium, and yes, it's the battle for first place in the Hockomock League. I'm Dave Clifton. I'll be describing tonight's basketball action. Bob Sondheim will provide the color. Barry Clayman will be on the stats. Dave Volan will be on the camera, and this game tonight will be produced by Phyllis Bernstein. And Bob, if we were to take a look at both these teams, North Attleboro right now 12-1 in the Hockomock League. The Sharon Eagles are 11-1. Sharon lost to North Attleboro in the first contest over at Sharon, and they lost that ball game on 2 free throws by Jeff Kriskoskas after the clock stopped. And North Attleboro was upset by Oliver Ames.
Well, certainly OA upsetting North Attleboro kind of sets the stage for tonight's ball game. The one thing it's very important for the Eagles to remember, and I'm sure the outcome of the first game will automatically dictate this to them, is the Eagles, of course, want to get in the lead in this ball game. They can't play defensively. They have to play their kind of game, and they can't look back over their shoulder squandering a lead, because that's what happened as Mike Babel, the excellent head coach of North Attleboro, simply put on a trapping defense in the third quarter of play that turned this ball game around the first time these clubs met. The Eagles have a big difference, however, and that big difference is Peter Capaneris is now healthy. He's shown that the last couple games.
Bob, I think the key in this ball game tonight, Sharon will have to control the boards, because with a guy like McCulis, there's no doubt in my mind that he's probably the biggest guy in the league. But let's not forget that we also have some key basketball players on the Sharon side of the court. When we talk about Capaneris and Ben Kafka, one of the senior tri-captains on the boards, and also Gary Henry, who had a tremendous ball game against Franklin High School.
And he did it all. 19 points, 11 rebounds, and had his whole host of blocked shots, a couple steals, assists. He did it all against Franklin High School. Also, let's not forget the outstanding other junior of North Attleboro, Chris Sullivan. Both these guys, of course, wide receivers on the football team. They have good sets of hands. They're tough kids, and this is going to be a battle. The crowd a little late in coming in. The crowd, I should say, the ball teams just on the court to our right and left, respectively. We're going to have a heck of a contest here. This one should be for all the marbles. However, this isn't the end of the Hockomock League season. These teams have to go on. In Sharon's case, they have a very tough game away against Oliver Ames, at home against Canton and Stoughton, two teams that gave them a whale of a game in their ball yards.
Bob and I will be back with the starting lineups, the national anthem, and the start of an exciting basketball game. This game could determine who the winner is in the Hockomock League. We'll be back after this public service announcement.
When friends don't stop friends from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving can kill a friendship.
Okay, we're back here at North Attleboro High School, the home of the Red Rocketeers. And tonight they host the Sharon High Eagles. Dave Clifton here along with Bob Sondheim and Barry Clayman. Right now, both teams on the court. A brand new court, basketball court at that, Bob, that was just put together here by the North Attleboro School Department. And this has seen a lot of victories, no doubt about it.
Oh, it is a very nice touch here, and certainly a rubberized surface. We saw something like this over at Franklin. Of course, Franklin's not quite as up-to-date as this one is. Very nice looking. The big red logo down the far side of the court. Of course, the nickname of the ever-powerful North Attleboro Red Rocketeers. You're going to have a visit at halftime with old friend Ray Beaupre, the outstanding athletic director over here in Big Red Country, and I'm sure he'll give us a lot of insight into the athletics here at North Attleboro.
North Attleboro right now currently has a record of 12 wins and 1 loss in the Hockomock League. They're 13-2 overall. They have losses against Oliver Ames in the league competition. They also lost to Bishop Feion High School in the tournament that North hosted to kick off the season. The Sharon Eagles are 11-1 in the Hockomock League. Their only loss against North Attleboro by 1 point, 50-49. And they're 11-3 overall. They have losses against Bishop Feion High School, Attleboro High School, and again, I repeat, against the same team that they face tonight. I think the key in the Sharon attack tonight certainly would be controlling the boards. They're going to have to stop Greg Walsh, one of the co-captains, who likes to shoot from the outside. They'll have to play some good defense. They should make their foul shots. We've had a tendency in certain games to miss our free throws, Bob. And I'd like to see Sharon take it right to McCulis, because if they get him in foul trouble, North could be hurting throughout that game. They can't afford to give up any turnovers. Kafka, I'd like to see him playing low tonight. That's where he plays his best offensive basketball, when he's low. And of course, Sharon will have to get the ball to Capaneris. North Attleboro, they have to stop Pete Capaneris. They're going to have to make sure that guys like Jeff Scott don't penetrate on them. And they're going to have to defense the three-point shooters like Brian Coffey and Dave Rader.
Well, I think two of the keys, Dave, I agree with all your points. Obviously, those are very strong concerns for Sharon and for Mike Babel on the other side of the coaching ranks. I think an important key here, you've got the emergence of a guy like Gary Henry, who is really at the top of his ball game right now, coming off an outstanding performance against Franklin. He can be counted on, hopefully, to be a strong force underneath, rebounding, perhaps getting that second shot, the garbage basket, whatever. And also, of course, Peter Capaneris, who was not himself, had 8 points in the first ball game, simply was not the Peter Capaneris of the all-Hockomock variety that we're used to seeing. And I think for the Eagles to win this ball game, they're going to have to be very tough underneath. I also look for a very strong game from Jeff Scott. I just feel it tonight that you're going to have a good performance by Little 32, because when the chips are down, he provides some good assists and some outstanding outside shots, and as you mentioned, great penetration.
A little salute to the captains tonight for the Sharon Eagles: Brian Coffey, Ben Kafka, and also John Wynn. Those are the tri-captains for the Eagles. And we should give credit to the co-captains for the Red Rocketeers of North Attleboro. We're talking about Greg Walsh, who's averaging 19 points a game, and also Pete Cragen. Bob, how about the officials for tonight's basketball game?
Well, as you might expect, or what should be deserved in a game like this, one of the outstanding veteran officials, Jack Tripp, is doing this ball game off to our left. The younger of the two, Dave Gibo, from the area. So Dave Gibo and Jack Tripp will be doing the ball game tonight. And also, we should point out to the fans, so you don't get the wrong idea, we're sitting smack dab in the middle of the North Attleboro rooting section. So if Sharon is a winner or on the way tonight, we'll provide the excitement. If North is on track tonight, you'll hear it around us.
Other basketball games taking place tonight. Stoughton High School has a bye. The Franklin High Panthers will be hosting the Foxborough Warriors and Coach Craig Moscato. Canton will host the Mansfield Green Hornets, and the Oliver Ames Tigers will travel over to Rentham to take on the King Philip Warriors. But I would have to say, Bob, this is the game of the week here in the Hockomock League and probably in Division II basketball, because we have two teams that have lost very few ball games, and right now we're just about ready for the starting lineups. And of course, they'll introduce the visitors first, the Sharon High Eagles.
You can hear the crowd around us. They're starting to fill up the stands as the red-clad Sharon Eagles against the white-clad North Attleboro Red Rocketeers, and it's starting to cook here at the high school.
And now we're just about ready to have the starting lineup for the Sharon High Eagles. We expect to see Gary Henry at center at 6'3", only a junior. And Coach Basil Cronin looking for a Hockomock League championship this year. And here comes Brian Coffey, the left guard, 6 foot senior, wearing number 22. And at left forward will be Ben Kapka, another 6'2" senior. He'll be wearing number 23. At right guard will be Jeff Scott, a 5'7" junior. Jeff will wear number 32. At number 34, the center, 6'3" junior Gary Henry. And at the left forward, a 6'3" junior Peter Capaneris. He'll be wearing number 30.
Well, just before we get North Attleboro, this is the guy who gets my vote for the Public Address System Guy of the Year. He should definitely work the palestra. North Attleboro is going to be introduced off to our right. Here they come.
Another coach, Bob, who's had some very successful times here at North Attleboro.
Number 20, Greg Walsh. I hope you can hear us over the din. 19.4 points per game, a 6-foot even guard.
Okay, we're back here at North Attleboro High School. A little technical difficulty. We lost our power, but we're back on the air. 3-2, North out in front. Walsh scored a three-pointer for North Attleboro, and Jeff Scott scored a layup on a steal for the Sharon Eagles. So it was 6:47 remaining here in the first period. Dave Clifton here along with Bob Stonheim.
We're going to have our first foul. Gary Henry's going to be called underneath as he tries to get the ball away for number 30, Jason McCulis. North making no secret about it, trying to work down low in the low post where McCulis is situated.
Okay, North working against a Sharon 2-3 zone defense. North Attleboro has Walsh and Kriskauskis in the backcourt. Bounce pass to Sullivan, and ball stolen by Gary Henry as he gives to his point guard, Jeff Scott, across midcourt.
A second steal by the Eagles early on in this game. 6:18 the clock running. Walsh has his three-pointer, Jeff Scott for two.
Brian Coffey at the point. Gary Henry posted low for the Eagles. There's Capaneris with a jumper. Rebound fought for. Loose ball picked up by Kafka, and we're going to have a foul on the play.
Well, that's what the Eagles have to do well, Dave. We pointed it out in the pregame show. They have to be tough underneath the boards, because in the first ball game, North Attleboro got the better. Even when the Eagles were way up in the first half, I came out and I had the feeling they weren't rebounding well.
Shot by Jeff Scott, no good. Rebound by Capaneris, his shot no good. And finally, McCulis pulls the ball down for North.
Now the Eagles get 2-3 chances, but come up empty. Another steal.
Coffey drives to the hoop, gives off to Gary Henry off the glass. It's good.
Nice assist by Brian Coffey, looking for either Jeff Scott or, of course, Gary Henry. He picks the taller of the two, and Gary finishes it off. 4-3 Sharon, their second lead.
So North right now breaking the press. As Sullivan gets back out to the point. Kriskauskis, number 24, drives into the paint, and he gets stopped by Gary Henry.
SWAT number 1 for Big Gary. There's a foul.
And they're going to call a foul against Ben Kafka, number 23. And that will send Steve Johnson to the free throw line as Brian Coffey hustles over the sidelines to speak with Coach Cronin.
Foul number 1 on Ben Kafka. And we'll get two shots right here for Steve Johnson, a 5'10 senior. This is the front end.
He'll get a second shot. Two-shot foul. He was in the act of shooting.
Well, you can feel the electricity here tonight.
And the second shot no good. Jeff Scott picks up the loose ball off the rim. Over to Ben Kafka, who works the near side of the court. He looks for his point guard, Coffey, over to Jeff Scott, over to Capaneris. Capaneris holds the ball, gets it back out front to Scott. The high post to Kafka, back to Scott. And the ball is stolen by Greg Walsh. As he drives to the hoop, throws up a running right-hander, it's good.
Sweet-looking shot by Walsh, nothing but net. He likes that left side, right off the top of the key, driving in for the two, and a nice shot that time, and a North Attleboro lead of 5-4.
Both these teams battling for the league in the Hockomock League.
Now Capaneris 0 for 2.
And the loose ball tapped off the fingertips of Jeff Kriskauskis. He's used to throwing the ball, not receiving it.
Well, heads up play. McCulis tried to tap it ahead. Jeff Kriskauskis, who Dave refers to, of course, as the outstanding quarterback and a fine football team put up by the Red Rocketeers over the last several years.
The clock running at 4:22 here in the first period. Capaneris fakes.
Here it is.
Goes in, up off the top of the back of the rim. It falls, and Sharon picks up another hoop.
Well, he gets the break that time. 1 for 3 from the field, and Peter on the board with 2 points.
And there's Johnson driving to the hoop. McCulis with the rebound off the glass. It's good.
Well, McCulis in the right place at the right time, boxing out the opposition and coming up with a basket. And it's back and forth seesaw, 7-6 now in favor of North Attleboro.
Gary Henry right now playing at the high post, Bob. Sharon's working a 2-1-2 offense against the 1-3-1 zone defense of North Attleboro. Jeff Scott drives to the hoop, penetration, and the rebound is picked up by number 33. And of course, we're talking about
Chris Sullivan.
Chris Sullivan, also a football player with the Red Rocketeers.
Nice pass.
Bounce pass underneath to Johnson, who misses the layup, and Capaneris pulls down the rebound.
Nice pass that time by Johnson. However, the finish not there. Still a 1-point NA lead.
Nice pass. Kafka scores with a nice pass from Capaneris.
Well, you see the nice pass right there. The big assist by Capaneris. Everybody looks for Peter to go up. He comes up with a nice dish. The finish by Kafka. 1-point Sharon lead. Back and forth we go.
Okay, Johnson with the basketball on the far side of the court. Walsh drives into the paint, throws up a running right-hander off the glass, rebound pulled down by Kafka.
Kafka right in on the action. A big defensive ownership that time. Sharon trying to expand it out here and get off to a good start out of the locker room, right out of the chute.
Coffey over to Scott, the high post. Gary Henry, three-point attempt by Coffey, no good. And loose ball, fought for, and we're going to have a jump ball. And possession will give it back to the Sharon Eagles.
Oh, the hustle that time by Peter Capaneris. 0 for 1 on the Trois Gras. Outside by Brian Coffey, who's been red hot of late. Ben Kafka will inbound. The Sharon Eagles up 8-7. And we have 2:28 to go in the first quarter.
Co-captain Pete Cragen in the lineup now for Steve Johnson. Coffey with the basketball. And evidently Ben Kafka stepped out of bounds. So North gets the basketball back. The score 8-7. Sharon out in front with 2:17 remaining here in the first period. Sharon working a 2-2-1 zone press. Cragen drives to the hoop. Gives off to McCulis. Loose ball finally goes into the hands of Sullivan. Jump shot from the corner. No good, and Gary Henry pulls down the big rebound.
Now Gary Henry making his presence felt. North Attleboro squanders the opportunity after getting back the loose ball with a Sullivan miss. Eagles by 1.
Driving baseline is Capaneris. He's blocked out, gives it over to Scott. Scott, loose ball shot, picked up by Capaneris for the jumper.
Nice little soft baseline jumper. Peter with 4 points. Eagles by 3.
Okay, Walsh in the backcourt now with Cragen and Sullivan. As they get the ball across midcourt, the Red Rocketeers, but in a very sloppy way. Okay, Walsh fakes, goes up with a jump shot. Ball rolls out, and we're going to have a foul called against Peter Cragen.
Well, the co-captain over the back of number 34, Gary Henry, and right in on the action there, Dave Gibo, the junior official, calls the foul against the co-captain of North Attleboro. Dave Rader comes in the ball game along with tri-captain Scott Wynn, and Gary Henry and Jeff Scott sit down for a rest. Also coming in, North Attleboro, Steve Johnson back in the game, and Jeff Kriskoskas, number 24, will depart.
Okay, John Wynn now in the backcourt with Dave Rader. Posted high, Dave's open. Wynn with the basketball over to Rader, three-point set shot, it's good.
Dave Rader back in the action. You might remember that Dave Rader was a big force to contend with when North Attleboro beat Sharon by 1 point. It was Dave Rader who had a fine ball game at home for the Sharon Eagles.
13-7. The Eagles out in front of the Red Rocketeers. North 12-1, Sharon 11-1 in the Hockomock League. Greg Walsh with the basketball. Gives it to Sullivan, gets it back, takes a three-point set shot from the corner. Rebound by Craig, and loose ball picked up by Zoffin. Over to Wynn. Wynn across midcourt. Loses the basketball, but the loose ball picked up by Zoffin. Over to Capaneris, three-point set jumper, no good. And the loose ball picked up finally by Greg Walsh. Walsh wears number 20.
North Attleboro looking very ragged on offense, having a lot of trouble with Eagle press coming across the timeline. Another turnover.
Johnson shot no good. Rader driving to the hoop. Up off the glass. It's good.
Eagles by 8 points, and they look red hot right now. Mike Babel might want a timeout. That's the end of the period first.
So at the end of one full period here at North Attleboro High School, the fans on their feet. It was an exciting first period. Sharon out in front of North by a score of 15-7. And Bob, this game is not going to be over till the final period.
Well, Dave Rader injecting some big life into the Eagles. He really hasn't had a solid game or really that much playing time since these clubs last met over at Sharon High School. But he comes in off the bench, hits a trois gras, then comes in with a two-pointer after the steal. He's got 5 points, and the Eagles are up by 8. Very quickly, David, let's take a look at the scoring here. Rader leads all scores with 5 points. Greg Walsh on the other side for North Attleboro has 5-2 for McCulis. 4 points for Capaneras, 2 for Kafka, a pair for Scott and a pair for Henry. It's 15-7 in favor of visiting Sharon.
Again, we get a pretty good idea taking a look at the depth that the Sharon Eagles have. They're able to take players off their bench and give some of their starters a rest. And North hasn't substituted as often. And it remains to be seen whether or not they have the depth that Sharon had.
I like what I see. Kafka in low is seeing a lot of action. Gary Henry's played very big. And, of course, the injection of life the Raiders given adds that important six-man dimension. 15-7 in favor of Sharon. We start the second quarter.
Okay, McCulis and Walsh, the guards. And there's a ball stolen as Kriskoskas tried to drive into the paint, and Kafka picked up the basketball. Dave Rader across midcourt. He works the far side of the court. Sharon in a 2-1-2 zone offense. The Red Rocketeers working a 1-3-1 zone defense. Capaneras holds the basketball, gets it back out front to Rader. As they play catch, Zoffin to Rader to win. A bounce pass to Kafka, jumper, and we're going to have a foul on the play.
Foul's going to be against Jeff Kriskoskas, the little guy under there. Did not have the position and causes the foul as Dave Gibo goes to the scorer's table. To be sure and ball out of bounds. Here's Gary Henry, and he'll replace Dave Zoffin.
So Sharon will take the ball out underneath their own baseline. Then Kafka gets it to Rader, to Henry, to Capaneras for the jumper. It's good.
Great ball movement that time by the Eagles. And as you call the good, Sharon, its largest lead by 10.
Okay, Sullivan with the basketball. He gets it across midcourt. Dribbles between his legs, gets it to Kriskoskas over to Walsh. Walsh fakes the shot, gets it into the paint to Sullivan, jump shot, and it bounces in.
Chris Sullivan, the big guy, number 33. You know, part of the game here is that Greg Walsh, like he did in Sharon, getting off to a very slow start. He has hit one trois gras for 3 points, but that's been it. He has a lot of company when he gets the basketball, much like Sharon played against John Andrews of KP.
One thing you don't have to do, Bob, is get both these teams up for this basketball game.
This.
Nice lead pass from Rader to Capaneras, and we're going to have a foul on the play.
Well, a nice loop pass that time.
They call it an alley-oop.
That was planned play, of course, and Peter right there just barely hitting the iron. Sharon basketball out of bounds.
Great lead pass by Dave Rader.
Now, 4 team fouls, more importantly, on North Attleboro. One more, and Sharon will be in the bonus.
Okay, Wynn brings the ball up front, and he gets fouled by Kriskoskas.
This should be bonus time, 1-1. 2 fouls on Kriskoskas. Johnny will shoot 1-1 from the line. Eagles up 17-9, and 6 minutes and 18 seconds to go here before halftime. Steve Johnson comes in for Kriskoskas, who has 2 personals, and timeout called by Sharon, and they're up.
They're going to give that timeout, Bob, to the Red Rocketeers.
You're right. So Mike Babel calls a timeout, wants to regather his troops. But remember, Sharon was up by 13, 15 points, and everybody knows the outcome. This is a lot of time in this game, but you got to like the flow of the Sharon Eagles right now.
One thing we should mention, Bob, that the outcome of this game does not necessarily mean that the team that wins this game wins the Hockomock League. We have to really take a look at the upcoming schedule. For instance, on Friday evening, February 9th, Sharon has to travel over to meet the Tigers of Oliver Ames High School. That will be a tough one. North Attleboro will take on the Warriors at Foxborough. On Tuesday, February 13th, Canton will travel to Sharon. and the Red Rocketeers will host the Franklin High Panthers, and that could be a competitive basketball game. On Friday, February 16th, North Attleboro gets a bye. Their league season will be over, and Sharon will have to host the Stoughton Black Knights. And on that night, Johnny Most will do the play-by-play.
Now, Johnny Most may want to stay around for the whole ball game. That could be for all the marbles in the first Eagle Championship since 1980. Let's not put any whammy on. There's still plenty of time in this one.
Okay, John Wynn makes his first free throw. 18-9. Sharon out in front by 9. 6:18 remaining here in the first half.
No, more points off the bench as John Wynn hits the first. He'll go for 2. He misses this one.
Second shot, no good. Rebound pulled down by McEulis. This basketball cablecast, a production of Sharon Community TV. Reagan with the ball up front to Walsh. Over to Johnson. To Sullivan. Chris gets it back out to Johnson. Bounce pass over to Walsh on the far side of the court. Cross the court pass intended for Sullivan. He holds it. Being covered closely by Capaneris. Over to Cragen. The co-captain drives baseline. And we're going to have a traveling violation before he got hit by Gary Henry.
Interesting call that time. The good baseline defense that time by Gary Henry. And the 2 starting guards are going to come in. Listen to the hand for the bench strength that time at John Wynn and Dave Rader. Wynn with a point, Rader with 5. Back in the ball game, Jeff Scott 32, and tri-captain Brian Coffey number 22.
Capaneris to Scott as they play catch. Capaneris with a jumper, bang!
3-pointer, David. And Peter now has 7 points in this game. He only had 8 in all 4 quarters in the first match.
Walsh and Sullivan being pressed in the backcourt. Cragen comes up to help out. Sullivan being trapped, gets across the court pass to Cragen. Finally ends up with Walsh, 21-9, Sharon out in front.
Block number 2.
Gary Henry blocks the shot, and it looks like a dunk. There's a stop.
There's our first stop, David. Gary Henry with the exclamation point right there, and this place is bedlam.
And the score right now, 23-9, the Sharon Eagles out in front. And the Sharon fans love it.
And Phyllis Bernstein got that one right on the camera. Gary Henry with a big basket. Barry Clayman puts the exclamation point next to that one in the score sheet. And the Sharon fans, as you might expect, absolutely berserk to our left.
It happened right in front of our own eyes at 5:12. A stolen basketball goes to Gary Henry. He goes from half court up to the rim and dunks it.
Largest lead, David, 14 points. The Eagles playing almost near flawless basketball. A good defense put up. Many of the pointers that you pointed out in the pregame show are indeed coming true. They're playing a solid basketball game, and Basil Cronin would like it just to continue for 2.5 more quarters.
Okay, Sharon again goes into their zone press, 2-2-1, with Gary Henry playing deep back. McEulis yet to be heard from too often, and I think he's the key to the North Attleboro offense.
Well, he averages 18 points a game. Walsh with 19. Walsh has 5 points, but McEulis only has 2.
Ball
Again,
almost stolen by Jeff Scott.
Again, the good defense by the Eagles, denying the transitional flow offensively by North.
Sharon so far has used 8 basketball players here in the first half. There's a foul reaching in, called against Jeff Scott. And North Attleboro likewise has used 8 basketball players.
Well, North hasn't had too much to cheer about. Coming in the ball game will be Jeff Nally, the senior forward. Only 6 feet tall. He was tough underneath the boards. Not very tall, but he's a wide body. And, of course, Mike Babel wants to shake things up.
I'll tell you something, he can also shoot from the outside. Okay, Sullivan tries to drive baseline, sees Gary Henry and stops. Kriskoskis on the near side of the court.
You want to stay with Walsh.
Gives it to McEulis, turnaround jumper. Rebound pulled down by Kriskoskis, and he places it off the glass nicely.
Well, Jeff with a nice offensive rebound right there. The right man at the right time. Gets the bunny. Closes the Sharon lead to a dozen.
There's a jumper by Capaneris. Rebound pulled down by McEulis. Gives off to Greg Walsh. Walsh at the point now. At the wing on the far side of the court is Kriskoskis. There's a shot by Jeff. Rebound pulled down by Pete
Now
Capaneris.
you saw the 5-inch height advantage, the 6-foot Nally, the 6'5" Capaneris reaching over the shorter guy to get the rebound.
Okay, Coffey over to Jeff Scott, over to Pete Capaneris with the jumper. It's good.
There it is, three-pointer.
Three-pointer.
That's his second trois gras, 3 for the Eagles. As Dave Rader has 1, Capaneris 2, and he's starting to mount the points. He's in double figures.
Nice drive by Greg Walsh using his left hand off the glass.
What a nice move that time. Greg Walsh, a 6-foot senior, driving right up the paint for a pretty basket.
And again, Pete Capaneris, another three-pointer.
Absolutely on fire. That's his third.
He's showing you why he was chosen as an all-Hockomock League basketball player as a sophomore here.
We have him for 18
Division II
points.
basketball.
18 points now for 15, I'm sorry.
Okay, North now working the ball around the three-point circle. McCulis turnaround jumper up off the glass, no good. And we're going to have a pushing foul underneath called against Chris Sullivan.
Wow. I'll tell you something, those three-pointers can mount up. The Eagles up by 16 points in this game, but they won't forget the experience last time. They have to keep on their game. They are playing excellent basketball. The idea, obviously, is let Pete Capaneris keep shooting. And, of course, with North in foul difficulty, the bonus is ever present for each foul from here until halftime. And Pete Capaneris will shoot 1 and 1.
The last time that both these teams met, Bob, Capaneris sat on the bench because of an illness. He played it probably a little better than half the game, but he wasn't up to full par.
I've been saying it all along. It's no secret that Peter Capaneris, with only 8 points, you didn't see the real Pete Capaneris, as you said, and he's giving a real lesson tonight. Second one rolls out. Eagles right on it, but a travel. Good call.
2:57 remaining here before the end of the first half. Sharon again with their zone press. Walsh in the backcourt with Cragen, McCulis, and Chris Sullivan.
Trouble
They
here.
have 10 seconds to get the ball across half court. And finally, Chris Sullivan gets it to Cragen over to McCulis. McCulis goes up off the glass. It's good.
Just merely missing the block that time was Gary Henry over the back. 30-15 the score.
Brian Coffey over to Gary Henry for the jumper. No good. And the loose ball rebound picked up by Cragen. So North again bouncing back. There's Greg Walsh now at the point. Underneath to McCulis, to Sullivan, to Cragen, to Kriskauskas. Over to Walsh, three-point shot. No good. Rebound pulled down by Pete Capaneris. Jeff Scott bounce passes up the court to Coffey, who fakes going baseline.
Great effort. There's a nice pass.
And there's a nice pass from Kafka to Gary Henry and the hoop.
Well, also a nice pass before that to set Kafka by Scott, and
There
then
should have been a
here's a
technical
steal.
foul too, Bob, because he touched the backboard, the defense.
Good point. Good point. Here's another nice
Pete
pass.
Capaneris with the fake over to Jeff Scott. Jumper, bang.
Unbelievable. Boy, are they on fire. 34-15, Sharon's largest lead.
And the ball
Another
is stolen.
steal. Scott again. Here's
Over
a
to
pass.
Brian Coffey up off the glass. It's good.
Timeout, Mike Babel, North Attleboro. Listen to Sharon's fans. 21-point lead for the Eagles. It's been all red and white, but the visiting red and white getting the better of it so far tonight. 36-15.
But you know, Bob, we've seen this happen before when Sharon played in that North Attleboro tournament right at the same site. They had a 15-point lead at halftime against Attleboro, and they got beat on a press in the second half.
Oh yeah. I'm not putting any flowers on the coffin yet. This game far from over. Mike Babel, one excellent coach, and North Attleboro doesn't have a record of 12-1 in the Hockomock League, 13-2 overall for nothing.
I'm sure there's a lot of meaning in this basketball game for both teams. I know the Sharon Eagle players, a lot of them have played together since the second grade. And they thought that maybe someday when they get up there to be seniors, that they would be fighting for a championship, and here it is.
Well, hats off also to the JV squad. Sharon coming away with another victory. Only one blemish on their scorecard all year. They won it tonight 68-41 over the JV squad from North Attleboro. Again, if you're just joining us, 36-15 is the score. The visiting Eagles playing near flawless basketball and tremendous defensive basketball as well.
Okay, Jeff Kriskauskas will take the ball out for North, gets it over to McCulis. Back to Jeff. Jeff working against the zone, gets it over to Greg Walsh. Walsh has been a steady basketball player all year for North, averaging 19 points a game for the Red Rocketeer offense. Chris Sullivan looks for McCulis. Bounce pass to Cragen. Cragen goes up, no good. McCulis follows up with the rebound. A second effort, and he makes the hoop.
Well, that basket definitely belonged to Jason McCulis. A great pass along the baseline to Cragen when he missed. 2 different rebounds by McCulis. He finally hits.
So right now the clock at 46 seconds remaining here before the end of the first half. Greg Walsh with a jumper, no good. Rebound by Brian Coffey.
There we go.
Deep pass up to...
He missed it.
A missed dunk. As Gary Henry tried to dunk the ball.
Oh! Boy, listen to the North fans. I have a feeling we're sitting on the wrong area right now. Oh,
okay,
my.
you can hear the crowd reacting in the background as Gary Henry tried to dunk the ball. And he missed the dunk. The score right now, 36-17. We're going to have a foul called against Sharon.
It's the second foul, I believe, on Scott. When Gary Henry missed the dunk, the NA fans all around us stood up in mass and pointed to the Sharon fans. The Sharon fans very calmly pointed to the scoreboard. They said, look, what's the score, guys? We're sitting right in the middle of the NA fans, and the Sharon fans are pointing fingers at us.
Okay, Chris Sullivan, jump shot, no good. Rebound pulled down by John Wynn.
12 seconds left. Eagles by 19.
Okay, Sharon will get one more shot. Capaneris, three-point jumper, rolls around the rim, no good. McCulis with the rebound. And that's the end of the first half. An exciting first half at that. The Sharon Eagles out in front, 36-17. And Sharon certainly got the best of North here in the first half. But it's not over. We have another whole half to go. And I tell you, a 19-point lead is not enough with these two teams meeting each other.
You're absolutely right. This one far from over yet. The Eagles will long remember what happened over at Sharon High School, but they're a team on a mission tonight. You really have that feeling. You don't want to see tempers get out of hand here. That's not what it's all about. This is an excellent basketball game, and right now, Barry's going to try. He's still doing his stats. We're going to take time out here. Dave's going to be back with the athletic director, Ray Beaupre, and a fine one he is too from North Attleboro when we come back in a few moments. Let's take time out for this public service announcement.
Okay, we're back here at North Attleboro High School during the half. We're being entertained on the floor by the North Attleboro Red Rocketeer cheerleaders and my halftime guest, Donnie Johnson, an assistant football coach with the Red Rocketeers. He played his high school football and basketball here at North, and of course played at Holy Cross. And I know you've enjoyed certainly the spirit here at North Attleboro, and we see some of it tonight, Don.
Certainly did. That's what makes North Attleboro special. That's why I came back to teach and coach here. One of the big reasons, because of the spirit that not just the kids here at the game tonight, but just the whole community. I saw some guys come in that played before I did in high school come out just to see this game tonight, so that's what makes it special.
I understand that one of your classmates is currently the head football coach over at Mansfield High School, and you played ball at Holy Cross with him.
That's right. Mike Redding, now the head coach over there, doing a great job, which is no surprise to me or any of the guys that went to school with him. Mike has a lot of experience now coaching on the college level, and he's just brought it to high school. And you know, it was the same way when he was a player too. He was so dedicated and determined, and was so thorough in everything he did, and that showed through, especially this last season for Mansfield.
You know, I was saying to Bob earlier, Don, that a fine group of gentlemen that graduated from here were athletes. To go on and become coaches, that's a real tribute to the athletic program here at North Attleboro.
Yes, and I think that is a big reason for a lot of the success, because the success just seems to breed success, and we get good people involved, and they come back and they're willing to contribute. And I think a lot of that has to go, a lot of the credit of that has to go to Ray Beaupre for all of his years of experience.
What about the first half? Are you surprised at the score, 36-17, Sharon out in front?
Yes, to tell you the truth, I thought it would be an even game. I still think it's a toss-up. Sharon played exceptionally well if they can put together 2 halves in a row just like that one, they deserve to win the game.
What's really interesting, I think you didn't have to really get Sharon up for this ball game, Don, because of the fact Sharon lost at Sharon after the clock stopped with 2 free throws by Jeff Kriskoskis.
Sure, and that's a tough way to lose no matter who you are and where you are, especially in your own gym. So we knew they would come over here fired up.
Donnie, I'd like to thank you very much for joining Bob and I during the half.
Thank you very much.
We wish you the best of luck in your coaching career.
Thank you very much.
Donnie Johnson,
Thank you.
an assistant football coach here at North Attleboro for the Red Rocketeers. And now, Bob, maybe you can bring us up to date on that exciting first half. Certainly was exciting for the Sharon Eagles, and it's not over till the clock winds down in the second half.
Or somebody sings. Anyway, the Sharon Eagles are up in this one by a score of 36-17. Big story has to be the 3 3-pointers by Peter Capaneros outside. Eagles coming in to my right, smattering of boos, but the Eagle fans also have given them a fine round of applause. 16 points for Peter Capaneros. He had 6 points for Gary Henry, a couple swats, 1 made dunk, 1 missed dunk, and a lot of fan reaction because of it. 5 points for Dave Rader, 1 twag ground, a 2-pointer off the bench in a 6-man capacity. 2 points for Kafka, 2 points for Coffey, and 1 point for Johnny Wynn for a half total of 36. The other side of the line, not much scoring to tell you about. Greg Walsh, 7 points. He came into this ball game with 19.4 a game. Big story has to be Jason McCulis, who came on stronger in the second quarter. He only has 6 points in this ball game too. Jeff Kriskoskis with a pair, Chris Sullivan with a pair, 4 men doing all the scoring for Mike Babel's North Attleboro Red Rocketeers. We're going to be right back with the outstanding second half of this one, the battle for the top of the Hockomock League. But first, let's take time out for this public service announcement.
Okay, we're back here at North Attleboro High School, just about ready for the start of the second half. The score 36-17. The Sharon Eagles out in front of North Attleboro. Again, I repeat the score in case you think we got it wrong. 36-17. Sharon out in front of North Attleboro. However, they have another whole half to go. And the question is, can Sharon put a second half together the same way? If they can play North even, they're in good shape.
Back with the starting lineup right here. You're exactly right. Sharon living and dying all season with the trois gras, the big outside jump shot, and Peter Capaneros has 3 of them so far. And, of course, Dave Rader, the other one. Sharon, outstanding defensive basketball as well as the Showtime stuff. Great steals, great control of the boards, just like they had to do in our pregame show.
Okay, Sharon going with Jeff Scott, Brian Coffey, Ben Kafka, Gary Henry, and Pete Capaneros. North Attleboro going with Kriskoskis, McCulis, Steve Johnson, Greg Walsh, and Chris Sullivan. Okay, Jeff Scott on the far side of the court. He comes to the top of the key. Over to Ben Kafka for the jump shot. Rolls around the rim. Rebound by Gary Henry. And blocked. Loose ball blocked. Loose ball picked up finally by Jeff Scott. Over to Brian Coffey. Bounce pass to Pete Capaneros. He goes up with a shot. His shot is blocked. And we're going to have a foul called against Greg Walsh.
Well, the foul, Greg Walsh, you can't yell that he doesn't hustle, that's for sure, but this time a little over-aggressive. Team foul number 1. If you're just joining us, we're just underway in the second half, 36-17. The visiting Eagles, the battle for the top spot in the Hockomock League.
Kafka goes baseline, goes up off the glass. It's good as he took it right to McCulis.
What a great move that time by Kafka. So tough on the baseline move. Ben Kafka now with 8 points in the ball game.
Okay, Walsh and Kriskoskis at the point. Sullivan drives to the hoop, rebound, fought for, pulled down by Pete Capaneros.
Let me correct that, 4 points for Ben Kafka.
Jeff Scott now wants to set something up. Knott still has a 1-3-1 offense. Sharon working a 2-1-2. offense against the 1-3-1 defense of North. 38-17. Sharon out in front by 21. 3-point shot by Walsh. Rebound finally picked up by McCulis. And we're going to have a foul against Ben Kafka.
Was it Ben Kafka? If that is, I think it's, yes, you're right. It is Ben Kafka. That's foul number 2 on Ben. Good rebound again by Jason McCulis. A high rebound. Steve Johnson skying for that one, number 11, but he missed the bunny underneath. McCulis right there for the foul, and he'll get a pair.
McCulis is going to be tough next year, Bob. He's only a junior. He'll be coming back for the Red Rocketeers.
So McCulis comes back, as does Sullivan.
And McCulis makes his first one, averaging 12 points a game for the Red Rocketeers.
20-point Eagle lead. Jason studies. Where's that leg brace on the right knee?
And the second shot, no good. Rebound pulled down by Capaneris. And I'll tell you, Peter not only does it with the points, but he does it with the boards. Jeff Scott over to Ben Kafka. Across the court pass to Pete Capaneris. Brian Coffey dishes off to Ben Kafka, who goes off the glass, and the shot is blocked. Loose ball picked up by Johnson. Johnson over to Walsh, 3-point attempt, no good. Rebound by Jeff Scott. Now Jeff penetrates across midcourt, and he wants to set something up now.
Eagles can afford to be patient, up by 20 with 5 minutes and 50 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Set it up.
North seem to be working a little harder on defense this half, Bob.
They are very aggressive.
Do a lot of trapping of the ball. Shot by Scott, no good. Rebound pulled down by Greg Walsh.
Jeff having a lot of trouble finishing off the penetration, getting the penetration, but the basket won't fall. On the line.
So Steve Johnson tried to drive baseline and bounced the ball on the baseline. Sharon gets it back.
Basil Cronin wants a timeout. Timeout number 1 of the Eagles. With timeout on the court, 5:24 to go in the third quarter. It's 38-18 Eagles.
As far as I'm concerned, Bob, that was a good timeout. I think Sharon needs to get together and needs to talk about how they can set an offense up and get themselves organized. They have to protect this 20-point lead, or they could lose it.
Well, you're right. From here, the Eagles will travel. The Rocket cheer below us by the North Attleboro cheerleaders. From here, the Eagles will go over to Oliver Ames for a Friday night date against the now winning Oliver Ames Tigers, if you can hear us, under Coach Nixon. 19 years as a head coach, never had a losing season. When he was over in Sharon, you remember we were questioning whether this would be the first one. They're now 7-5 in the league and still have a winning record overall. So hats off to Bill Nixon. And for the Eagles, a tough foe on Friday night over at Oliver Ames.
We should also congratulate Coach Joel Peckham, his JV squad once again winning the Hockomock League, 68-41. The freshmen, by the way, at 12-1. They defeated North Attleboro in their game this afternoon.
Of course, not only is this a battle for the lead in the Hockomock League, but if Sharon wins, they automatically get into the postseason tournament. You need 12 wins. This would be number 12.
Okay, Sharon working a 2-1-2 offense. Capaneris posted high, being covered by McCulis. Kafka goes low to Henry. Back to Kafka. Bend over to Jeff Scott for a 3-point shot, no good. And the rebound pulled down by Cragen. Over to Walsh, up the court to Chris Goskis. North Attleboro working the ball on the near side of the court. Bounce pass goes out of bounds, and Sharon gets it back.
Mike Babel's team struggling on offense, but the Eagles clogging up the defensive lanes. Good coverage that time at Jason McCulis as 2 men fell on him. Actually, a 3-man trap on McCulis.
Mike Babel's done a pretty good job with this team, no doubt about it. North has always done pretty well in basketball. Kafka being trapped, ball knocked out of bounds by Johnson, and the Eagles get the ball back again. 38-18, Sharon out in front of North by 20 points. We have 4:25 remaining here in the third period. Kafka trapped in the back. Finally stolen by Chris Goskis up to Greg Walsh. Walsh drives, throws up a jump shot. Rebound by McCulis, and he goes up, and it's good.
Jason McEwis, a nice foul. The two big guys that got him here to the big game are taking the shots, and that's what Mike Babel is going to need to get back into this game. An 18-point Sharon lead, 38-20. Foul called underneath on Steve Johnson. A little too closely guarding that time on Ben Kafka. Chris Sullivan will come in the game. Dave Rader, I should say, is going to come in the game. He has 5 points, 1 three-pointer, and 1 conventional. And Ben Kafka is going to get a rest, number 23.
Okay, Rader gets the ball over to Jeff Scott. And the ball goes off Rader, so North gets the ball back again.
Well, the trapping defense works in the corner that time. This is what Mike Babel employed in the third quarter when the Eagles watched a 13, 15-point lead fizzle away. Right now, they're working on an 18-point lead with 3:50 to go here in the third quarter.
Okay, Greg Walsh bounce passes to Chris Sullivan. And they're going to call a blocking foul against Dave Rader.
Well, they ruled that Dave Rader did not establish position. No shot on this one. John Wynn coming into the ball game for Jeff Scott. So backcourt will be Rader and Wynn. And the front court, Gary Henry in the middle, along with, Brian Coffey in the game. So Rader will assume a forward spot. Kapaneris in as well.
And this McEwis throws in a shot and gets fouled, so he has a chance for a three-point play.
Jason McEwis quickly with 12 points in this ball game, had 6 at the half. He's added 6 here in the third quarter. The Eagle lead now down to 16 points. It's important they don't look over their shoulder.
Well, Bob, I think I said to you that I think McEwis is a key to the offense for the Red Rocketeers. They have to get the ball to him if they want to come back in this ball game. Okay, his shot is no good. Rebound by Chris Sullivan. Turnaround jump shot, and finally, rebound pulled down by Gary Henry, and they're going to call a foul against Chris Sullivan over the back.
I was going to say just then, too, a little late in coming, they need a lot of Gary Henry right now to plug up that middle. He's not in foul trouble. He's got to be right in the way of Jason McEwis and try to pull down some of this rebounding action.
Sharon right now, Bob, needs to get a hope as a confidence builder. Okay, Wynn being trapped, gets it over to Coffey. Coffey holds the ball across the court pass to Kapaneris, over to Wynn. Kapaneris drives to the hoop underneath to Gary Henry, a beautiful pass, and finally, a rebound pulled down by McEwis.
Opportunity missed right there, and a great pass by Kapaneris.
Okay, Johnson holds the ball over to Walsh. Chris Koskis at the top of the key. Chris Sullivan.
Big play, Henry. Here they go.
Rader drives to the hoop off the glass, and it's good.
7 points for Dave Rader as he finishes it off. Almost too hard off the glass, but it falls. Another steal.
Rader goes to the hoop, and he gets fouled. So they're going to call another foul against Chris Sullivan. How many does he have?
Maybe 2 on Sullivan. Important item on the board. 4 team fouls now, 1 away from the bonus for North Attleboro. Sharon has 3 team fouls. The score is 40-22. Timeout called by Mike Babel, North Attleboro.
So, Bob, with 2:35 remaining, we see the momentum tried to change a little bit towards North Attleboro. And Sharon, of course, had to score a hoop in order to change things around a little bit.
Well,
but you cannot count this team out in red. Absolutely. With guys like Walsh and Chris Sullivan and McEwis. They're a threat.
Well, certainly Walsh picked his third quarter last time these two teams met into the fourth to go hot on the outside. He's a bona fide three-point shooter, and as you saw, the Eagles build up a quick lead with 3 points upon 3 points by Kapaneris. Greg Walsh hits 2 or 3 of these, and that could trim almost 10 points off a lead. But Jason McEwis is just awesome under the boards right now. Number 30, without him in there, Mike Babel could just about pack up and go home because Jason McEwis is playing one heck of a ball game tonight.
This third quarter basketball cablecast, a production of Sharon Community TV.
We have Jason McEwis, Barry tells me, 11 points, 10 rebounds already in this game. So hats off to number 30, but the Eagles trying to regroup, keep the momentum going that Dave mentioned a few moments ago. Dave Rader with a steal. He'll get 2 from the line. 7 points off the bench for David, number 41, and he's playing a big key in tonight's ball game.
Okay, Dave Rader now has a 2-shot foul. He dips, he shoots, it's good. 41-22. Rader has a chance now to put the Eagles out in front of the Red Rocketeers by 20 if he makes this. He studies the basket, he concentrates, he dips, he shoots, it's good.
Well, 2 clutch free throws and 9 points for David. Eagles up by 20, as Dave mentioned. We have 2.5 to go.
Chris Koskis gets it to McCulis. He gives it back to his guard. Finally, Johnson drives to the far side of the court. Gets it back out front. Chris Koulis, 3-point attempt, no good. And the rebound goes out of bounds off Gary Henry.
Well, we also have Jeremy Daggett in the ball game, number 22, his first action, 5'10" senior guard. Coming out is Gary Henry to a fine ovation. And coming back into the ball game is Ben Kafka.
McCulis tries to go up with a shot, it gets stolen. And Dave Rader now brings it up the court, gives it to Wynn. 2:09 remaining here in the third period. Wynn to Pete Capaneris. Capaneris tries to drive.
So give it back to North.
And gets involved in traffic. The referee calls a jump ball.
Now, North basketball in the possession rule. Sharon got it last time. 3 men very quickly on Pete Capaneris, who was scoreless here in the third quarter. He came in with a halftime margin of 16 points.
Okay, Chris Koskis in the backcourt now with Daggett and Johnson. Johnson has the ball stolen by Wynn. He gets it to Coffey. And finally restolen by Chris Sullivan, who looks up the court, gets it to McCulis, and thrown out of bounds by Johnny Wynn. Good hustle as he got back on D.
Excellent hustle by the tri-captain, Johnny Wynn, who has a couple steals in the third quarter. Very reminiscent of the game over at Canton, where his 2 steals kept the Eagles in the game and eventually went on to win. He's playing excellent defensive basketball.
Okay, Daggett to Chris Koskis, to Sullivan. As they play catch on the far side of the court, Sharon still in a 2-3 zone defense.
Good move that time.
We're going to have a foul called against Dave Rader. Good penetration by Jeff Kriskoskis.
Well, let's not get too over-aggressive on the D there, but as you say, Kriskoskis with a good move. Everybody's sitting around trying to figure out who's going to take the shot for North. A glance at the scoreboard, and North is down by 20 points, so the Eagles have added to their lead so far here in the third quarter.
Shot by Jeff is no good. He'll get a second one. Remember, Sharon fans, he's the player that beat Sharon with 2 free throws and the crowd roaring after the clock stopped at Sharon. And he makes a second shot.
And he made him just like that, right down the bottom of the well. 1 out of 2, Sharon by 19. We have 1:23 to go in the third quarter.
Okay, Coffey with the basketball, back to Wynn. Wynn playing the point, Ben Kafka posted high. Rader and Capaneris in the corners. Sharon working for 1 good shot. Back out front to Coffey, over to Wynn. As they play catch out front to kill some of that clock. Capaneris being trapped in the corner. Gets it back out front to Wynn. Bounce pass over to Coffey. Finally to Capaneris, and he gets fouled by Steve Johnson.
A nice patient offense. I said defense, it should be offense. Sharon killing the clock, finally getting the 2-shot foul upcoming, and foul number 5. From here on in, Sharon will be in the bonus in this ball game. 52 seconds and the clock has stopped, and Sharon ahead by 19, and Peter C. on the line has 16 points, has not scored, however, in the third quarter.
There's a shot by Pete, no good. And he'll get a second.
Came into this ball game averaging straight up 16 points a game, the 4th leading scorer in the Hockomock League.
He dips, he shoots, it's good. Sharon again out in front by 20. Okay, Chris Koskis takes the ball across midcourt. Sharon again in their 2-3 zone defense. Chris Koskis 3-point attempt, it's good.
Right down Broadway by Jeff Kriskauskas outside. And let's see if that three-pointer ignites a little rally here. Eagles would like to play for one shot here, up by 17. That was their margin at halftime.
27-second. Nice pass from Capaneris to Kafka for the hoop off the glass.
Wasn't that pretty? Great dish that time by Capaneris. Not only 17 points, but another great assist by Peter. Great finish by Ben Kafka. He now has 6 points.
Sharon out in front right now by 19 points. And we have 6 seconds remaining. As Rada drives to the hoop, and it's blocked.
Nice block by Jeremy Daggett.
By Daggett. Sharon gets the ball back. This is a good time for a timeout to set up one shot. But the coaches right now are calling for play as Capaneris goes up with a shot. No good. And that's the end of 3 full periods here at North Attleboro High School. The Sharon Eagles out in front of the Red Rocketeers, 45-26. And Bob, it may sound like a pretty big lead, but I'll tell you, I've seen Sharon come back trailing King Philip by 19 and picking up all their points in one period. So let's use that as an example.
Exactly right. They outscored King Philip in that ball game in the third quarter by 26-4. A 22-point turnaround. Remember, too, that all the marbles are on the table in this ball game. I think Mike Babel knows that. Certainly Basil Crone and the Eagles and their fans all know that, too. Been a long time in coming. The Eagles, it would be a shame to see this one slip away. They have played so well this evening.
I know last year North did beat Sharon at Sharon, and the Eagles came back and beat North Attleboro handily up here at the home of the Red Rocketeers.
Let's quickly take a look at the scoring. Capaneris 17 points, only got 1 in that third quarter. 6 points for Kafka. He led the Eagles in scoring. Also 9 points for Rader. He has 9. He had 4 in that third quarter. 6 points for Henry, 6 for Kafka, 4 for Scott. On the other side of the line, Jason McCulis, 11 points, 7 for Walsh, 6 for Kriskauskas, and 2 for Chris Sullivan.
Okay, Sharon right now going with Rada, Capaneris, Coffey, Wynn, and Ben Kafka.
In the rebounding action, 10 rebounds for Kriskauskas. I should say 10 rebounds for McCulis, 6 for Capaneris.
Okay, Wynn over to Rada. Rada takes the shot. It's good.
There it is. He has 11 points in the game, and Dave Rader has been an inspiration off the bench.
Sharon continues their 2-2-1 zone press. Chris Sullivan takes it across midcourt, and we're going to have what we thought might be a foul.
Nope, it's going to be NA ball out of bounds. That's what Dave Gibo says. You know, it's incredible. 3 quarters of action. You look up, and NA only has 26 points on the board.
One of the things that Sharon has tried to do tonight, Bob, is to keep Walsh from taking 3-pointers. Chris Sullivan turnaround jumper, rebound fought for. McCulis picks it up. He goes up with a shot. It's good.
Boy, just like magic. He has 13 in the game. Jason McCulis squaring off so nicely, just like Capaneris. Excellent shot.
Well, he's tough. He's 6'5" and has the range. Okay, Rader in one corner, Capaneris in the other. Posted high, Ben Kafka, one of the senior tri-captains. Coffey and Wynn out front. Wynn has the ball. Bounce pass to Capaneris. Capaneris brings it back out front. Wynn and Coffey playing catch. 47-28. Sharon out in front. We have 6:30 remaining in this ball game.
Good strategy right here, and excellent ball control. Then it's slapped out of bounds. Still Sharon basketball, but they can afford to take some of the air out of the basketball.
Eventually, you're going to see a man-to-man defense come up by North Attleboro, Bob. No doubt about it. And there's Pete Capaneris driving to the hoop as he drove right towards McCulis.
Well, you kill 55 seconds, and then you get the bunny underneath for Capaneris, who now has 19 points in the game. Eagles again by 21.
Okay, Sullivan and Walsh getting the ball across midcourt for North Attleboro. Sullivan drives to the hoop, and we're going to have a foul called against Pete Capaneris, number 30.
Also, the good thing here is that Gary Henry gets some resting time on the bench. Number 34 has not played in several minutes. You're going to see Chris Sullivan go to the line. He'll get a pair. And just now, as I say that, in comes Gary Henry. So he should be fresh legs. He's going to replace Peter Capaneris in a standing O for the leading scorer of the Eagles, who departs this ball game having a fine game and a darn sight better than what we saw over at the Sharon High School.
First shot by Sullivan is no good. And Coach Babel will now bring Steve Johnson into the ball game for the Red Rocketeers.
6 minutes and 2 seconds to go. The back end of a two-shot situation, and he misses both.
And the rebound went off Ben Kafka's fingertips, either him or Gary Henry, so North gets the ball back.
Both teams in the bonus situation from here on in, Dave.
And Chris Sullivan gets a round of applause as he comes out of the ball game. Steve Johnson gives him a rest. Kriskauskas three-point attempt, no good. Rebound pulled down by senior Ben Kafka. He gets it to John Wynn. The senior tri-captains in the lineup now for the Eagles. 4 seniors and a junior. The junior, Gary Henry. Ben Kafka goes underneath, and he rolls it off the glass into the hoop.
Oh, nice scoop underneath there.
That's
Great
where
finish.
he belongs, playing low.
You got that right, and you said it right on the pregame show. And Ben Kafka's been right on top of the game, the tri-captain doing his share.
51-28. Greg Walsh, tricky dribbles, throws up a left-handed scoop shot. No good. Rebound pulled down by Ben Kafka. And we're going to have a foul on the play. They're going to call that against Pete Cragen, number 23.
Well, the Eagles right now sitting pretty. 23-point lead, 5:18 to go, and every second that leaves that clock is a big bonus.
This has to be important too, Bob. Sharon being on the bonus, because you never can tell as the game gets a little closer to the end. 5:18 remaining, 51-28. Sharon out in front of North Attleboro. First shot by Kafka, no good. Rebound pulled down nicely. Is he blocked out nicely? Pete Cragen.
Very good position by Cragen. Brian Coffey could do nothing about that one.
And there it is, Greg Walsh with his three-point shot.
Second trois gras for Walsh outside. That cuts the margin down to a 20-point deficit.
Okay, Kafka over to Coffey. And Coffey tries to get it to Gary Henry, but it's stolen. And Kriskauskas drives to the hoop. Rebound.
Blocked
up by Greg Walsh, but blocked nicely by Ben Kafka.
Ben Kafka, another sterling defensive job that time. All ball rolled under there by Gibo, the official. North ball out of bounds on the steal, but Kafka with a nice defensive block.
Okay, Johnson to Greg Walsh. Kriskauskas three-point attempt, no good. Rebound finally picked up by John Wynn.
Great pass.
Coffey, nice pass up the court to Dave Rader, who goes up off the glass. It's good, even though he went off the wrong foot.
Yes, he did. You young basketball fans, you got that one right, Coach East. But a great finish that time. 13 points for Dave Rader.
54-31. 4:17 remaining in this ball game. Cragen with the basketball. Over to Walsh. Walsh takes a three-point attempt. No good. Rebound by Johnny Wynn.
Time to take some air out of the ball.
Wynn takes it across midcourt, being covered closely now by Kriskauskas.
4 minutes to go.
Over to Rader to Coffey. Sharon now wants to set something up. Over to Wynn. 3:46 remaining. Coffey to Wynn, and the ball goes out of bounds, and North will get it back again.
It's okay. Coming in the ball game, Kevin Horrocks, a senior, number 14. Steve Johnson leaves. Mike Babel, 3:40 to go. If there's going to be any magic, it has to be out of Steve Walsh from the outside, Greg Walsh from the outside.
Okay, Kriskauskas takes a three-point shot, no good. McCulis with the rebound, and he gets fouled by Gary Henry.
Not much question about that one, as Henry came right down on the head of Jason McCulis. Good pump fake by McCulis on the rebound that time as he's switching the neck around. Good sportsmanship by Gary Henry with a pat on the back to the talented NA junior. 3 fouls now on Gary Henry. Steve Asher's going to come in the ball game for his first action tonight. Number 25, 6'1" senior, and he's going to replace the co-captain Peter Cragen, who comes out.
So, Bob, this could be a great victory for the Sharon Eagles if they were to win tonight, because they would now have a record of 12 wins and 1 loss in the Hockomock League. And North Attleboro, if they were to lose tonight, would be 12-2.
Well, we should point out to the fans watching this ball game, North Attleboro was rated as number 9 in all Division II basketball, so a big win for the Eagles. But it isn't over yet. 19 points is the margin, 3:17 and the clock runs.
Okay, Coffey over to Johnny Wynn. Wynn to Rader. Rader goes towards the hoop, bounce pass to Kafka. And he had his foot on the baseline.
A good call, and right on top of the action, Dave Gibo, the official. I think Ben was on the line, a good call. Capaneris comes in for Rader. Good hand for Dave Rader, who departs with 13 points.
So Brian Coffey gets a round of applause, and Jeff Scott comes in.
Tri-captains have had a fine game leading the team tonight.
Greg Walsh drives to the hoop, throws up a running right-hander, and he makes it.
The lead down to 17.
Jeff Scott up to Johnny Wynn. 2:50 remaining in this ball game. Hook pass to Jeff Scott. Jeff Scott being trapped, and we're going to have a foul in the play. They're going to call that against Kevin Horrocks, 5'10" senior guard.
A little aggressive on the trapping defense on Jeff Scott. Jeff Scott, the junior, will toe the mark. Eagles up by 17 points, 2:43 to go, and he'll get a couple. He'll get 1 and 1.
And he makes his first.
That's the kind of bounce you want.
Second shot by Jeff Scott is good. 55-36. The Eagles go up by 19 once again. 2:35 remaining in the ball game. Greg Walsh and Chris Koskis in the backcourt. There's a turnaround jump shot, no good. Rebound by McCulis, and he gets fouled over the back. And they're going to call that against Pete Capaneris.
Outstanding rebounder as McCulis reaches right over the opposition to snare away the rebound. And the good move to the hoop picks up the foul on Capaneris. So he'll shoot a pair from the line. Both teams in the bonus automatically. And the clock check is 2:25 to go in this one. McCulis with a fine second half of basketball. Not much to cheer about if you're an NA supporter, however.
And McCulis makes his first. 55-37.
Getting ready to check in the game will be number 10, Dan Pratt, as Mike Babel has just about thrown it in. So a very strong Eagle squad tonight. Dan Pratt, number 10, will come in. And leaving the ball game will be Jeff Kraskowskis, number 24, threw in a couple trois gras outside to try to give some life to the North Attleboro Red Rocketeers. However, this night is Sharon's.
Right now, North Attleboro, we're going at a man-to-man press, I would assume, Bob. Jeff Scott now taking the ball across midcourt. Hook pass underneath. Nice fake by Ben Kafka off the glass. It's good.
Great pass, great fake, and the finish by Ben Kafka. And Eagles again by 19.
57-38. It's been a while, Bob, since a Sharon basketball team won the Hockomock League championship.
Well, we have a foul in the backcourt. I got to go on record. We were coming down here tonight, and Dave Clifton said to me that he feels it's going to be a blowout one way or the other, and it was very much that tonight. Pete Capaneris comes out of this game, and he's going to get a standing ovation. I wish you could see the crowd to our left, the Sharon fans going absolutely berserk. They have been on their feet almost the entire second half, and why not? Their team has come in with a big victory. Walsh leaves on the other side, and that's the cheer you hear going up for NA.
Shot by Kafka is good. He'll get a second one. Sharon right now out in front by 20 with 2:03 remaining in this ball game. Second shot by Kafka, no good. .155 and the clock running. Kafka steals the ball. Adam Schrager over to Jeff Scott. And Scott shot no good. Rebound by Gary Henry.
We have a foul on Jeff Scott. Scott Clifton and Greg Bell coming into the ball game. Will Andrade, number 24 as well. There go three of the starters right there. Ben Kafka, Gary Henry, and Jeff Scott. High fives all around. A victorious bunch of Eagles off to our left.
Okay, North Attleboro trying to break the press. And we're going to have a foul called against Greg Bell. So you can hear the Sharon fans in the background saying it's all over.
Well, why not? They deserve to say it. It's been a long time in coming, but again, they go away to Oliver Ames on Friday. Next Tuesday, you'll see this game. These games will be history, of course. Canton comes to town. But remember Johnny Most Night, February 16th. Come on out for Johnny. Come on out for the Eagles. That could be the real coup de grace that night. That could be the Hockomock Championship if all the ducks fall in place.
And there's the second shot. Rolls around the rim. It doesn't go in. A rebound, loose ball picked up by Will Andrade. Adam Schrager with the basketball being pressed in the backcourt. Bounce pass over to Scott Clifton. He takes the shot. No good. And the rebound pulled down by North Attleboro, and we're going to have a foul on the play called against Dave Zoffin.
Oh, Zeker with a foul, his first of the game. All academic, 114 is the tote on the clock right now. 19 points is the lead. Sharon, right out of the gate early tonight, played strong, scored early and often. A lot of turnovers by North Attleboro that never seemed to get into sync offensively, Dave.
We have 1:14 remaining in this ball game, and there will be a celebration tonight for the Eagles. And we'll have another foul called against Dave Zoffin. And going to the foul line will be Brian Vandenberg, 6'7" senior, actually not a senior, a junior. Played a little JV ball tonight. His first shot is an air ball, which means that Sharon will get the ball out, and they'll try to break the press.
So you got to feel good for a lot of players, Dave Clifton. Ben Kafka played his heart out tonight. John Wynn had a fine game, too, defensively. Dave Rader, especially coming off the bench, added a lot of spark, and Peter Capaneris proved exactly what he was all about. North didn't see him healthy in the first game. Nice running right-hander on the baseline.
In the backcourt now with Adam Schrager. Schrager being pressed in the backcourt. And the clock right now at 42 seconds. Will Andrade takes a three-point shot, and it's good.
Bingo! The lead back up to 20. Half a minute to go. And it's going to be showtime for the Eagles. And stay with us for a post-game show. We'll try and have as many people on as we can. Well, the People's Choice, Steve Vasher with a hoop underneath. 18 is the lead. 15 is the time.
Greg Bell over to Scott Clifton, three-point attempt, no good. And we're going to have a foul on the play underneath. And they're going to call it against Will Andrade. We have 7 seconds remaining. And the score right now, 61-43. Sharon out front by 18. And the Eagles go out in front, and I guess they would have to say thank you to Oliver Ames for defeating North earlier in the season. But however,
they want to say thank you too soon.
Oliver Ames could also do a favor for North Attleboro.
That's it. A victory of epic proportions right here as the Eagles complete their mission. They knew they could win it, David, and they came down and did the job.
So congratulations to the Sharon High Eagles as they right now take over first place in the Hockomock League.
We're going to be right back. David, let's take a break here.
61-45. We'll be back with our post-game show after this public service announcement.
Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say.
The power of teaching.
Well, won't get no better if we're just
The power to wake up young minds. The power to wake up the world. Teachers have that power. Reach for the power. Teach. We're recruiting young teachers. Call 1-800-45-TEACH.
We're back here at the North Attleboro High School Gymnasium. The crowd has left, but the spirit is still here. The Sharon Eagles defeat the Red Rocketeers of North Attleboro 61-45. And I'll tell you, I know some of the seniors, the tri-captains are here, and they certainly worked hard. I don't see Johnny Wynn here, but I know this is an important victory for them as well as the juniors. Right now I have the starting five with me: Gary Henry, Jeff Scott, Ben Kafka, Brian Coffey, and of course Pete Capaneris. And you guys should be congratulated, because right now the Sharon Eagles are in first place. You have 12 victories, 1 loss in the Hockomock League, and right behind you North Attleboro with a record of 11 wins and 2 losses. And your next game is against Oliver Ames. How do you guys feel about this victory tonight? Let's start with the seniors.
Well, it's a good one, because we haven't won here ever since we've been on varsity and in this gym. And coming in here, being kind of underdogs, everyone thought North Attleboro was going to take this one, I think. And we came out and we pulled it out pretty convincingly too, to show everyone that we are the team to beat.
And I know, Ben, you've been thinking about this game all week. How do you feel about being in first place right now, all alone?
Well, I knew if we came here and played our game, Pete started shooting, Jeffrey was driving, Gary was dunking, Brian was shooting, everyone doing everything. We could win it. All we had to do was put it all together, and we did that tonight.
And speaking of dunking, Gary Henry was 1 for 2 tonight on the dunk. And Gary, I don't think anybody was disappointed that you took the ball and tried to dunk it the second time. I think people that were here tonight expected you to do it. I think the coaches thought you were going to do it, and we certainly thought you were going to do it. I don't think anybody holds anything against you for trying to dunk it. What happened on that? You didn't get close enough?
I really don't know. I got up there, I thought I was going to dunk it. In my head, I was like, yeah, there's another one. And I just missed. I don't know. And I just saw myself coming down, and I was like, oh, my God, now I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I just started swearing.
Well, we won't put that on cable. But you heard it right here from Gary, blocked the shot, Henry. And with us also the penetrating guard for the Sharon Eagles, Jeff Scott, a junior. He'll be back again next year. Jeff, I know this has to have a lot of meaning for you tonight.
Yeah, it does. Like Brian said, we haven't came out of this gym with a victory, and this boosts our confidence.
And the guy standing right behind you is Pete Capaneris. And he's certainly a basketball player who's coming back again next year for those fans that might be from out of town. And I know, Pete, this had a special meaning for you tonight. And do you think that the Eagles were... I know the coach didn't have to work hard to get you up for this game tonight. You guys, after losing, after the clock stopped back at Sharon, I know that that really concerned you.
Well, we never should have lost that game, really. We picked up a foul with no time left on the clock, and he hit 2 foul shots. But this is a good win. We deserved it. We worked hard, and it was a team effort. And it's been 13 years since we won a championship, so this is our year.
What about Oliver Ames High School? I know we're playing at OA, and they're supposed to be a tough team in their own gymnasium. This is going to be an important one for you to win if you want to hold on to the league championship.
Well, we beat OA fairly good, and we showed what we could do here, and with the momentum going behind us, we put it together. I don't think there's a team in the league that can stop us.
Again, congratulations, guys. The Sharon Eagles win tonight, 61-45. And right now, as you can see Jeff Scott's finger, the Eagles are #1 in the Hockomock League, and we hope that that continues. Best of luck, guys, against OA and the balance of the season. And right now, Bob Sondheim will come over and complete our post-game show with the final stats provided by Barry Clayman.
Well, David, everybody knows by now, Eagles 61-45 winners tonight. Not just a win, but a very convincing one, and one that will be long remembered by their fans and the players and coaches of this team. Capaneris leads all scorers tonight with 19 points, 16 in the first half of play, but he did the damage, had 6 rebounds in the ball game. Coffey had 2 points, 11 points for Ben Kafka, 9 came in the second half of play, 4 rebounds to go with those 11 points. 6 points for Jeff Scott, 6 points for Gary Henry, 2 rebounds and 2 swats. And Dave Rader, big game off the bench, had a lot of finishes and a lot of fast breaks. 13 points for David. Had a strong game the first time out against the Red Rocketeers. Will Andrade, 1 trois gras from the outside, and he has 3 points. John Wynn, 1.61 for the winning Eagles. Greg Walsh, 10 points, 6 for Jeff Groskowskis, got a couple of 3-point, I should say 1 3-pointer. Jason McCulis had 18 points, 14 rebounds, a monster game for big number 30. The junior will be back next year. Chris Sullivan had 2, Dan Pratt 2, and Kevin Horrocks 2 points, 4 for Steve Vasher, and a single point for one of the JV players on a foul shot. 45 points, the total for North Attleboro. Right now we have the victorious coach coming in. I'll let Dave handle that responsibility. And congratulations, Coach Cronin. Before I get off, and Dave, take it away.
Bob, I don't want you to get off. I want you to stay right here with us. Coach Cronin, this has to be an exciting victory for you tonight. Coming up here at North Attleboro, playing at their home gym, knowing that you lost to them, and that you did a couple things tonight. You put yourself in first place in the Hockomock League, and from what I understand, you qualified for the state tournament tonight with a 12th victory.
We never even talked about the state qualification, and even after the game, till somebody told me I'd forgotten all about it, was that 12th win. We were just concerned with the fact that we could come in here and win, and or we could lose, but we still have 3 very difficult games to go. Their schedule isn't as difficult. I mean, so as I told the kids, this is the moment. I mean, either we seize it now, or we've got nothing to complain about. If we lose, we give them the game tonight. We can't wait for somebody else to knock them off, because I don't think it's going to happen. So they took it. They seized the moment, so to speak.
There was no doubt in anybody's mind tonight that it was a team effort, and I was saying to your starting 5 that nobody had to work hard to get the players up for the game tonight. They were thinking about that last game. But what about Pete Capaneris? An outstanding basketball player, only a junior, comes back again next year, made the All-Hockomock last year as a sophomore. Is he one of the best that we've ever seen at Sharon High?
Well, I think he is. And I go back with Dud till 1962. We've had some, good players here, but certainly Peter ranks up there with one of the best. I'm glad he's a junior, because there's a lot of talent in this league that are underclassmen. A lot of young teams in this league. It's going to be very competitive next year, and I'm just glad that we have, even though we have 9 seniors who are doing their part, that we have some juniors who can play the game.
I was impressed at the number of Sharon fans that were here tonight. I think we outnumbered the North Attleboro fans, and it's quite obvious that the fans in Sharon wanted to see it happen tonight too.
Well, I think those Sharon fans that came to the first game were treated to an outstanding basketball game. Obviously, they went away somewhat disappointed, but the kids played hard, and it could have gone either way at the end there, and unfortunately, it went against us. But the kids responded tonight, and I'm glad the town come out to see us play.
The remaining games now for the Sharon Eagles: Stoughton, Canton, and of course the very next game will be against the Oliver Ames Tigers. Would you consider OA to be the toughest team that you have to face, or would you say Stoughton or Canton?
I think all 3 of them are tough, as I've told you. Canton is a very young team. They've been erratic. They've been sometimes they beat somebody by 20, and then they turn around and lose to somebody. I think that's part of being a young team. Stoughton, as we know, is explosive. I thought that they would definitely beat North Attleboro in their gym, and they ended up losing by a point to them. So Stoughton, we know, is an outstanding team. Oliver Ames is probably the most improved team, I think, from the first half. They've only got 5 losses in the league, and they got those fairly early. They came back from a 37-point drubbing from North Attleboro to beat them by 12 the second time, and they beat Stoughton the other night. So Oliver Ames is going to be a very difficult game for us.
So you folks at home that may be watching, get out and support the Sharon Eagles. They're on their way to a championship. They need your support, and they have 3 league games remaining. And right now, the Sharon Eagles sitting on top of the Hockomock League, Division II basketball, with a record of 12 wins and 1 loss, and right behind them, North Attleboro Red Rocketeers with a record of 11 wins and 2 losses, one of them tonight against the Sharon High Eagles. Best of luck, Coach, for the remainder of the season.
Thanks, David.
And right now, we're going to ask Bob to wrap it up here at North Attleboro High School. And before you do that, make sure that you thank those folks that helped make tonight's cablecast possible.
Well, first of all, a pat on the back to Ray Beaupre, who could not be with us at halftime, for giving us the opportunity to bring you this game here at North Attleboro and his athletic department. Producer-director Phyllis Bernstein and Dave Volan, able assistants up there, and to bring you the action, which will be one game that these kids will want to long remember, as well as the fans who are in attendance and those who couldn't come. So our hats off to all three, Dave again and Barry's help on the stats. We've had a good time here. It's a game we've been looking forward to covering for some time. So be with us again for further basketball action. Eagles are #1 tonight, and hopefully at the end of the season, join us for further action. We'll be back with you with more Hockomock League action right here on your Sharon Cable 8 Game of the Week. So for Dave Clifton and Barry Clayman, the entire crew, good night, everybody, from North Attleboro.